Hey, welcome. I am PopPop, and of course, you're here in my LitRPG world. And tonight we are conversing with Sean Barber, the apocalyptic author supreme, even better than Doctor Strange. Uh, Good evening. I'm going to call it evening since,
Evening.
for me, it's late. Um, Sean, thanks for joining me. You are Sean number 3 in the Shawnapalooza that we're doing this week, trying to get all the Seans with LitRPG conversed and ready to go up onto PopPop's LitRPG World YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Happy to be here.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about Sean Barber and how you got into LitRPG?
Well, I'm 41 years old, former truck driver, author. I actually stumbled onto LitRPG when I was on a superhero kick. I had just finished reading the Superpowered series and its spinoffs, and came across this new book that had just been published called Super Sales on Superheroes by William D. Arand. And the main character could pull up a status screen on the items that he owned. And then it just kind of fell down the rabbit hole.
We all do.
So about 4 years in, apocalyptic LitRPG was my favorite subgenre. But I noticed almost all the main characters at that time were either college kids, former military, EMT. But as a truck driver, and what happens to all the thousands of truck drivers all across the country, hundreds or thousands of miles from home? So I decided to write that story. I built my system, had my main character who was a truck driver who was passing through southern Idaho when the world froze and the system initialized. And he has to travel over 700 miles on foot through the apocalypse to get home to his family.
Yikes.
And that's my first trilogy, Paths of Power Initialization. And I've since written my settlement builder, Path of Sovreignty.
Very good. I have that because I am, again, like you, I am big into the apocalypse. I can't get away from it, from Jez, Kajayo onward, even Aaron Ampersand. There's just so many different types of apocalypses that even the regressions are apocalypse related for the most part. So that you couple it with a town builder or a city builder or a kingdom builder, and it's just, for me, the best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got amazing stories like Da Wong's System Apocalypse.
Correct.
You have Shadow Sun Rising. Don't know.
And that's what I'm reading now. I'm reading Shadow Sun right now.
And that's a phenomenal series. But again, college-aged main characters.
Yes, you are correct.
Whereas my first main character, he's about 35. Pretty much average guy, a bit of a geek, listens to a lot of audiobooks while he's driving his truck. And so he has a little bit of an inkling of what's going on when everything starts. My second main character in my second trilogy has no clue. He's, as you know, a former mixed martial artist who's basically dealing with undiagnosed PTSD, living on his uncle's campground, treating himself with alcoholism, basically, when the apocalypse hits, and he has to pretty much pull himself up by his bootstraps, take care of a whole bunch of people, and finds the leader inside. And yeah, that one was a really fun trilogy to write.
Can't wait to get into that one. And again, I guess I'm a pantser when it comes to reading books.
Oh, reading.
So I don't plan out what I'm going to read. It just happens. I will pick something up and start reading. I read for the interviews. The Sean week, it's a little bit difficult since I just throw everything together. It's kind of hard to read Sean Wilson, Sean Barber, Sean Hall. I mean, it's just impossible to be able to put everything out there. So then when Dave Wilmarth's book comes up, and I'm saying, oh, that looks really good, I'm going to get that. And it's just like when I did Rise of Mankind, it's just going to be all 6 or all 8. I'm just going to go right through them. And
like I've been working through Sean Oswald's books. I've already read his Welcome to the Multiverse. So I then recently read his Dragon Sorcerer. I'm reading his Magic Eater books right now. Basically, all the ones that are
I've got to read them.
I have 2 new books in World Seed by Justin Miller that I just found out were out. So I have to re-go through that entire series now.
I don't reread. I have to recollect.
I do a lot of audiobooks because I still do a lot of driving. I do Uber on the side. So I listen way too much to not be able to reread. So it's usually I'll reread the entire series when a new book comes out, and it helps save money because it fills the time without having to buy pretty much credits daily.
Yeah, that'll work. Again, I don't usually listen just because it's not my preferred source of intake. Always had hearing issues, so it just doesn't work the same in my brain as reading and flipping the page. But I do listen to books that I have read. I drove down to see Matt Dinneman, so I bought with my wife. So I bought the Audible of DCC for her to get into it because I didn't want her to be, blind going in.
And the audio for that one is just phenomenal.
It is. So Jeff Hayes, I don't know how he does it. I don't know. I mean, I've watched him do it too on his app, and
yeah, I've seen some of the clips.
It's how he can do that is beyond me. How he can just flip from character to character and remember them all. And then he's doing Chrysalis and he's doing DCC. How do you do this? And then everyone else that's out there, I don't even know how a narrator can keep track. So I am learning how to listen. I just bought Age of Stone today in the Rise of Mankind since I happened to see an Audible credit pop up.
Oh, yeah, that's a good book.
I grabbed that and I'll listen. And it's Neil Helliger is doing the narration, so it'll be a worthy book to listen to. And since I know what's going on.
I actually first heard Neil Helliger's do the World Seed by Justin Miller.
Okay.
It's a 4-book series, Druid main character. Neil Helliger does the audio for it. Phenomenal job. I actually wanted Neil Helliger's for my first trilogy, but I was working with Tantor Media, and he was booked out for over 6 months. So I had to go with their backup, which was Roman Howell.
And how were you? Are you happy? Were you happy with that?
Roman Howell is decent.
Okay.
There's a few things I would have adjusted, but when you're working with a production company, you're pretty much, aside from a little bit of influence on the narrator, it's completely hands off.
And how about Path of Sovreignty?
That one, I'm actually working directly with a narrator by the name of Reese Zion. We just had book 1 get published on Audible last month. He's working on book 2. And basically, as soon as he finishes a chapter, he sends it to me. I can review it, give him some feedback immediate, and it can come up with a much better end product.
Very good. Progress, is a good thing. Change is a good thing. So that's awesome there. Now, were you able to make it to LitRPG Con in July?
Oh. I live only 75 miles from the LitRPG convention, but my brother decided to get married in Northern California just a couple weeks after the LitRPG convention, so I couldn't afford both.
Oh, and
So,
family wins out?
I mean, we only get together once a decade or more or so.
Oh, that's important.
So, LitRPG Con, fell by the wayside. Although I am going to next year's.
Very good, because I will be there again as well. That is something I will not miss. It was phenomenal. It was great.
I mean,
And I'm sure
it's
the
only
wedding was awesome as well.
Oh yeah, it was. We're in Fort Bragg, right on the coast. We were out there for most of a week, plus driving there and back.
Very good. And then you'll just add to further the confusion of multiple Seans that are there all the time. So they should just put you all up on a panel.
That'd be awesome.
And see what happens from there. Put Brian J. Norton up as the moderator, and it'll be a blast. So, what made you transform from fan to author?
Actually,
I know you said just that lack of a main character that bit into you, that made you want to believe.
And I've actually wanted to be an author since high school. I've been an avid reader since the 4th grade. I've always held authors up on this pedestal and thought it was amazing they were able to create these rich, in-depth worlds. I mean, I started reading The Wheel of Time in high school.
I've never read it, so
too late now. This is actually my 3rd serious attempt at writing a book. Was Paths of Power initialization. I tried in high school. I tried again about 15 years ago. That second one, I got halfway through, wrote myself into a corner, and realized my magic system was a little too Pokemon. So I ended up putting that to the side. And then, like I said, I discovered this genre. I was reading it. It became what I primarily read. And again, as I was reading it, it became my favorite subgenre. And it's like, there's no truck drivers. I have personal life experience as a truck driver. So I could make it fairly realistic for what the truck driver would do in that circumstance. So I decided to go ahead and start doing it on my downtime.
Now, the truck driving apocalyptic subgenre is still out there. There's a couple books still in development.
There's
one on Royal Road, I believe, or there's actually might be one up on Amazon.
Trucker was on Royal Road. I read some of that. That one was interesting with the where the inside of the semi truck is spatially expanding and upgrading constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That came out. I don't remember if that was around the same time I started writing or just after I started writing my first book. I don't remember which. I have to look it up. But yeah, there are a few that came out almost around the exact same time. It's weird how that happens.
And I am just sitting here saying, I want to do that. It's Apocalypse. And I just haven't been able to pull the trigger on that one yet. Probably will. Again, I am just drawn to the Apocalypse in all of its variations at this point. Even though I still love my isekai and everything out there I've enjoyed. I've loved. I haven't found anything that I don't. There are some that I'm a little bit slower at. Cultivation.
Well, I do enjoy good cultivation stories. Like Thousand Lee. Right. That was one of the early ones I read. Then Cradle, of course, and
of course. Yeah.
Aaron Oster's. What's the name of that series? One where the main character has the power element to his energy.
That I only know a couple of Aaron's titles, and I don't recall that one. What gets me is how Tao can write System Apocalypse and then flip and do Adventures on Bob, and then do The Nameless Restaurant, and then do 1000 Lee, and then do Climbing the Tower, and it's beyond me how he can write so much and so different.
Yeah,
and still make it all worthwhile to read.
Oh yeah, and right now, my Paths of Power world is my primary focus because I actually have a lot of plans for this series as a
good.
whole.
Yep, that's good. You just took my next segue, so let's go with that.
All right. Well, I've got to what I call my foundational series. These are all books that starts at or the begin or near the beginning of the apocalypse in different areas that dive into different aspects of what people go through. And these are all going to be baseline characters that will then go back to my original series and progress the timeline by another trilogy or quadrilogy, however it shakes out. Progressing the time forward from the beginning of the apocalypse further into it and through the apocalypse into the rebuilding of civilization and crossing over from characters from this series, meeting characters from this series, and having a much bigger overarching storyline.
Cool. But it's not necessarily just going to be 15 volumes of the same character just progressing and progressing. You're going to change things up. You're going to have different points of view, different characters, and different impacts.
And I'm also making sure that all my books are in 3 self-contained 3 to 4 book series. That way it's not just forever going on forever. Each arc of trilogies or whatever will have a good definitive ending, but just open enough I can go back to later. That way, no matter what, people have a satisfying conclusion, not a series that goes on forever that then just stops.
But you'll have an open world.
Yeah.
A sandbox to a degree.
Yep.
That you can play in. That's cool.
I'm also working on turning my system into a tabletop role-playing game. So much like D&D.
How do you do that? I mean, how do you find the time? I mean, do you have that history in playing tabletop before? Or?
Oh, yeah. I've been playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Vampire the Masquerade, all these games since high school. So I'm 41 now. So 24 years.
Some years, yeah. So is it going to be a card-based game, or is it going to be like a D&D type DM?
This would be more D&D like.
Okay.
So it'll have all the systems I have developed for my books, because I developed my systems like you would a role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my character creation process. I have my level, my experience charts. I have Excel spreadsheets for spell creation. I had to relearn algebra to make sure my mana costs stay consistent.
just know you mix letters and numbers, and I am right out. No, I don't do that. I can do numbers. I can do letters separate.
Fortunately, the reader doesn't need algebra to do it. It's all behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
So this spell costs this much mana. There's a reason why it costs that much mana, and that's in my Excel spreadsheet formulas.
And you can't just say because.
Right. I have to have a solid foundational reason why. Everything is very realistic, realistic. But
understood.
Like you'd find in say Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, there's a lot of ways you can abuse the system, but they're all consistent, and there's no hand waving. I mean, my main character's nearly died just because of a damn bad dice roll. And barely survived because of his companion. And that actually was a random roll for events as they happen. Some events are more storyline, and I just, fudge through and, but other ones I actually do roll randomly just to see what happens. And,
Yeah, I mean, now that is, if you're actually doing the dice rolling to impact your book, that is even crazier than, in a good way, than when I listen to authors who say, yeah, I created this character and I had no idea that he or she was going to do this, or I thought this character was just going to be here for 3 minutes, and now it's like a major supporting character, and I'm like, what the hell? You made
that's happened to me too.
But you're not really, I don't understand that because I am not a creator. I'm a consumer of all your fine arts that you guys make, and it just I don't understand how a character that you create can become more or become so different from what you intended. See, that whole process just freaks me out. So when you potentially risk death or a bad impact on it based on a die roll is just wild. and then if you're strong enough to live by what happens and then blend it into your story, that's really cool. I like that.
So all the crafting checks I roll randomly and use my charts. So the actual quality that things come out as is what came out in the roll.
Wow.
Now, there are some, like I said, some events that are made for dramatics that I don't use dice rolls for, just for the cinematographic view. But I do use dice when possible.
That's just wild. That is so cool. And that's Path of Power. So now you're making me spend money, just like Troy Osgood does his goddamn website or Facebook page. So more money, more books. Ugh. It's a horrible thing.
I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of books in my garage because I don't have space inside my house right now.
So do I.
Shelves to put all my books.
I have all these. I have 6 or 7 shelves. I have one set of shelves that I have not put together, and now I can't because if you look all the way over there, I'm sorry about doing this, but I've got that from Kevin Johnson that I put up there. Now it's screwed. I'm screwed. It can't go up there. So no more bookshelves. So I have to take books off to fill in what new genre books I get.
Yeah, eventually I plan on having my home library /study /writing office with floor-to-ceiling shelves full of my books. But that's when me and my wife eventually buy ourselves a house.
That's what you have to save it for. That's right.
Yep.
When it's yours, you don't have to worry about it. So this is ours. This is ours now, but it's just not completed the way I want it to. And if I keep adding, I'm going to lose my electric plugs or my electric receptacles, which is never a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to carve into it on a bookshelf and lose shelf space as well. So right now I'm good with everything back there. So who do you have influences beyond your dice when you're writing? Who do you look to as your muse or muses?
Well, a large part of my writing is I write like a DM because I'm stuck as the forever DM when friends get together and we play. So mostly I create characters that are believable, the whole full background. I go through the full character creation process with them, developing them, who they are, and then I really just develop their personality as events happen. So I have fairly broad strokes on the characters, and then their personality really develops as the story progresses. The choices they end up making, I put myself in their shoes, look through their eyes with their history. And there are some characters that have been inspired or even created by friends and family. Like, for example, one of my oldest friends came out as trans when I was writing my first initialization trilogy. So I included a side character whose name is Rowan. And that character is also trans. So that was inspiration from my friend to include into my first trilogy. Another friend created the Magnus character, and that was fun working with him to change things up, get a bit more of a whole personality behind it. So I've also been inspired by the books I read, of course.
Of course, everyone. You write what you know.
Dropping Easter eggs in. And what Easter eggs go in really depends on what I'm reading at the moment.
And I've read a few, and even in the books I'm reading now, and Dave Wilmoth, you see something there. Every once in a while, you'll find a little something. What are you reading? What are you reading now?
Right now, I'm reading the second Magic Eater book by Aaron Oster.
Okay.
Not Aaron Oster. No,
Sean
Oswald. Sorry.
The other Sean. All you Seans hang out together. I mean, seriously. You keep supporting each other.
Once I finish, I'm almost done with the second audiobook for Magic Eater. But then I'll be going back to World Keeper by Justin Miller, so I can read the 2 new books that just came out. Aside from that, I still have Crystal Core to read. I just got all the audiobooks for that one. Before that, I'd have to check my reading history. It all kind of blends in together.
Very good. So we know that you're coming to LitCon. We know what your books are. What else do you really want to talk about? What do you want to get out to people about Sean Barber, that what's going on with LitRPG? What do you want to say to your fans, to our fans, to the genre in general? It's a conversation, so you get to do whatever you want as well.
I mean, I'm working on my next series now. This one is loosely titled Path of Bone. I'm trying to keep all my series in a very similar naming style, so they're more easily recognizable.
Yep.
This one is actually going to be about a necromancer up in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, cool.
Kind of an ethical necromancer, so to speak. All his skeletons and bones are ethically sourced.
You mean from graveyards and not from living people converted?
Yeah, fighting off monsters instead of using fellow people.
Okay.
And he's actually going to be specializing as a skeletal necromancer, not just animating ambling skeletons, but crafting with bones and then animating them. So one example I like to use is imagine a flying skull with vertebrae on top and a series of rib bones that have been shaped to be propellers, so it can then literally fly around shooting magic bone darts at his enemies.
That would just scare the shit out of me. I would have a heart attack and die before I got struck by one of those things.
So things like that, basically treating him his skeletons as kind of like golems, so to speak, where he crafts them from the bone materials and everything, and creates an entire army of customized skeletons they can fight with.
That's going to be unique. Don't give it away because you don't want people stealing it from you.
And this is also going to be the story where the Adventurers Guild, or the first Adventurers Guild, gets founded.
And this is going to be in the Path of Powers universe.
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll be taking place in Oregon, at least for at the beginning. And it starts about a week into the apocalypse. So since my first two trilogies start at the very beginning, I skipped the very beginning part since people were going to be very familiar with it already and just got right into the meat of it. I also have plans for my Path of Faith book. I haven't decided on a working title for that yet. But it's basically going to be a religious war. Basically, if you haven't read the series yet, I have 3 paths of progression in Paths of Power, hence the name Paths of Power. And one is the Eastern style cultivation, where you have to clear your meridians, develop your Dantian, create key techniques. And that's what my main character uses in the first trilogy, Initialization. The Path of Mana is a classic leveling system where at different level thresholds, your class will evolve at those thresholds to be more advanced and either more specialized or broader, depending on the character's actions and what they have available. And that's what the main character for both Path of Bone and Path of Sovereignty use. Path of Faith, I actually have a back history that hasn't gone into yet, but all the gods existed in ancient times. They were all living gods that started off as mortal but became gods. This is way before the system tried to initialize on Earth. And it's actually because of a worldwide war between different pantheons that the world broke, so to speak, and caused all that power to disappear until today.
Okay.
And so people who choose the path of faith choose one of these divine patrons. And they are brought back, but not as living gods, but as restricted spiritual beings that can draw power from the faith of their followers and reward them and their behaviors with divine favor points that they can use to spend on divine abilities or boosting their attributes.
Okay.
And so with all the religious people... Sorry, what? I didn't catch that.
I said I can live with that. That yeah. I understand.
So we already know there's a lot of conflict in the world between people of different religions, and that's without any actual tangible power. But once you get people that are able to shoot bolts of holy energy and call down blessings of their gods and everything else, it's going to go crazy. So I'm working in the background on that storyline, where the early stages of religious war, where different pantheons, followers of different gods, combat each other. Some will band together, especially polytheistic ones. They're used to the idea of having multiple gods, and having other gods doesn't invalidate their own, so they tend to group together. But the monotheistic religions are monoliths. They're going to have much more followers than any other individual god. So their god is going to grow much stronger, faster. So it's going to be a big conflict there brewing. But again, that's in the pipeline down the line.
Very good. Very, very good. I am well past my bedtime. And I've done three things today: 2 Sean's and a live interview. So I am gonna wrap tonight up. I have enough to add into the Seanapalooza for you, and with Sean Hall and Sean Weeks. I am very happy the way this is developing. I'm glad that I reach out to all y'all, and you guys all responded so well and so nicely to me, agreeing to do these. So I appreciate you and the other ones. Hopefully it'll give me a good foundation to keep moving. And as I say, I'm going after the Ryans after I'm done with the Seans. So there are a lot of Ryans out there as well. And we'll see how that turns out. So thanks for joining me tonight. And keep an eye out, and I'll let you know when I'm posting things up, and we'll go from there. Other than that, everybody, thanks for joining PopPop and Sean Barber in PopPop's LitRPG world. And I am going to say goodnight. And of course, as I always do, stay off my lawn.